What's up, y'all? And welcome back to Dad Needs to Talk. I'm your host, Robert, and today we're back for another week. And this week, I'm going to be talking about I'm going to be talking about Hulu and Disney fumbling again when it comes to anime launches. Middle school track season is over for my kids, and I have been reading and watching some very interesting and maybe some hints of some spookiness that I'm going to talk about today. So we're going to dive into it. So I hope everybody out there is doing well. I am doing good. Good enough to do another episode, another week in a row. But before I jump into all that, as always, if this is your first time here, then welcome. But if you're a returning listener and or watcher, then welcome back. Y'all know here at Dad Needs to Talk, it's all about fatherhood and family, manga, anime, and video games. So, like I said, back for another week of fun. And I hear the pitter-patter of Vash's feet running around the house when he's supposed to be in bed, so we will know shortly what he's doing, because I hear him trotting through the house. So, but yeah, so back again. I hope everybody out there is doing well. I'm doing good. Busy as always, So when it comes to my schedules and stuff, on a lot of days of the week, I have very little to no, not necessarily no, but very little wiggle room when it comes to scheduling and stuff. So today of all days, of course, I ended up having to stay at work about an hour or so later, hour and a half later than I normally do. Because there were some people at work that were dealing with the problem. They reached out to, or they asked security if they knew if anybody from IT was in the building or whatever. And so I was the only one at my desk at the time. And so I went over to help. And then what hopefully was going to be a quick, simple solution was not a quick and simple solution. And like I said, an hour and a half, I was there trying to get things sorted out or whatever, but we figured out what the problem was, and I got it sent over to the proper team. But of course that just meant that my window to work within just got even tighter, because pretty much it was just me going from work, calling my wife on the way, being like, hey, I ain't gonna be able to pick up Vash or whatever because of the timing or whatever. And she was like, no, she got him or whatever. And so my oldest was like, yo, I'm on my way. He's ready for his game because he was supposed to have 2 games tonight. So he's like, hey, I'm already at the house. I'm already ready. I'm like, okay, cool. Be there in about 15. So 15 from when I called him. It's normally like a 40-minute drive home, but of course traffic decided to be extra packed today. So get him, and then we head into the game, and my wife calls me. She's like, hey, did you hear? First game got canceled, and they're now just doing a game at 7 because it's supposed to be a game at 6 or whatever. So it's like, okay, cool, we'll have a little bit of extra time, whatever, and stuff. So I'm like, okay, cool. So we're already on the way en route to the game. And then not even like 5 minutes later, she calls me back again. She's like, actually, she was like getting messages from the coach while she was on the phone with me or whatever. She was like, actually, all the games got canceled. And I'm like, are you sure? Because I am like 15 minutes close to the gym or whatever. And so she's like, no, they got canceled or whatever. All the teams forfeited. They didn't want to play us because my son's team is currently undefeated that he's in for this whatever. So I'm like, okay, great. So turn around, came back home or whatever, and then I've had the evening to kind of chill and rest a bit, but it's like time is just always just like it's always something going on. We're always on the move and stuff because it's freaking 10:15 right now. And it's like, what the heck happened to my afternoon, to my evening, to my night? It's just all gone. But it is what it is. And so, briefly touching on the end of middle school track. So, overall, it was a good season, but things didn't end off in the way that we were hoping, and it is what it is, you know. Life happens, things happen, or whatever. So, my oldest son, I think he ended up PRing in the long jump, and I think he might have got maybe fifth overall. I think third, fifth, somewhere in there. So super proud of him because he literally just got tossed into the long jump like in like the second to last meet a few weeks ago, and hey, finished up good or whatever. And that's with like very little training. So very curious to see how he does going forward. Also, he was part of the 4x400 meter relay, and their team I think got second or third. And his squad, they beat the school's record as well, so that was very dope. My other daughter my twin daughter that also does basketball, she had a victorious win in one thing and a soul crushing moment in another. I'll start with the sad one first. She was sad because she didn't do too good in the long jump, but once again, this is her first year doing it. And stuff, whatever. So, and considering her size, she's doing really good, all things considered, whatever. So, and she PR'd on her jump as well. So, super proud of her for that. Even though, you know, she didn't get higher like she wanted to, whatever. But I will say that in the in the 200 meter relay, I think they got third, and then in the 200 meter dash, she got first place with a new personal best. I think she ran I think it was like a 27, like a high 27 seconds or whatever. So super proud of her or whatever. She came through on that. And now the most soul crushing one, my baby, the other twin girl that's been doing track for 8-9 years since she was 5. She went undefeated pretty much all season, and then so we found out. So we thought it was majority. I thought it was majority just like nerves that got to her, because of course we all know, or some of us know that have dealt with it or whatever. Is like sometimes you can kind of like psych yourself out and worry yourself to the point to where it turns to physical sickness or whatever. So she ended up getting sick partway through her first race, which was the 2400 meter, which is the mile and a half. So she didn't even finish that race, and then we were able to get her to come back and feel just barely good enough to do the mile, but that she finished last in that as well, because she was hanging on by a thread. And so, but you know, we were very proud of her and stuff, because you know, one thing with that race that we kind of wanted to, you know, to kind of, I guess it was kind of more like a teaching moment, because aside from like her coaches from the school, primarily her coach that's been coaching her, or one of the main coaches that's been coaching her since she was little, was there, because her and a lot of the other kids that are on my daughter's summer track team, her AAU team, they're all there from their different schools and stuff, whatever. So it's kind of nice. A lot of the parents and stuff, we were all there, and the coaches, to support all the different kids, regardless of what school they went to. But you know, it was just kind of like a teaching moment for her of like, hey, you know, of course within reason, of course, but kind of learning to kind of like fight through and overcome those hard moments, and to kind of like, hey, try to push through even when you know you might not be feeling 100%, or you know, mentally you might not all the way be there. It's like, you know, regardless of what place you get, whether you get first, in the middle, or you get last, to finish. And she did that. She came back through on that second race. She finished. But then we did find out later that night or whatever that she really did. She really was sick because she had a freaking 103 fever in the middle of the night. But she's good now. We got that down. And then as my wife the other day was talking to some of the other parents and coaches and stuff, whatever, found out that some of the other girls on the team sort of was getting sick, and other people at school or whatever. Because we know like Vash, he had my youngest son, that's in pre-K. He had kind of got like some type of like little virus thing like earlier in the week or whatever, because he missed Monday and Tuesday. And then my wife found out that like a bunch of pre-Kers at the school were out for most of this week too, whatever. And so we don't know if it might be a case to where she got it from him or stuff is always just going around with all these kids and stuff at school, whatever. So, but, like I said, my point is, whatever, is that, while it was a soul crushing moment, just because I know of how hard she's worked and stuff, whatever, for the season to kind of end like that. But, like I said, at least, we ended it on a positive note and stuff. So hopefully, we're, sights are on summer track now, and then of course getting ready for trying to make a comeback for when she goes to 8th grade next year. So, but like I said, big shout out and kudos to all my kids for doing awesome in school track this year. So get ready for the next round. So but so aside from that, nothing else too much has been going on with me. Life wise and stuff. Shout out to the homie Gooch. We finally got to catch up for the first time in months. Just talking about life, family, fatherhood, all that fun jazz. Our IT jobs and stuff. the shenanigans and stuff we be going through with that. So, and the other thing, so over the weekend also, my primarily me and my daughter that plays basketball. My oldest son that does basketball, he watched as well, but it was primarily me and my youngest daughter, the youngest twin, that plays basketball. We had a grand old time Sunday watching some very great, very fantastic basketball of LSU versus Iowa. Man, like it's been a long time. And granted, I don't really. And I probably talked about this before, but I don't really watch and keep up with too many sports things in general. I will watch things in clips or whatever in passing, and of course, like my kids, they'll keep me updated on stuff, whatever. But I don't really watch too much unless it's like the big game or whatever. So but yeah, so watching this championship game and just seeing so many historic moments from both sides with Caitlin Clark with, her getting the freaking 40-point triple-double record, a scoring record for most points scored in a finals game for most points overall in a postseason playoffs and all that stuff, whatever. And then on the flip side with LSU and, them winning a title for the first time in that whole school, for that whole school's history for the basketball and stuff. And watching Angel Reese, the double queen, and just watching all these dope women, young ladies, just get out there and just shine and, like I said, just play a historic game. And like I said, getting to watch that with my kids, and like I said, especially my daughter that does basketball, and just seeing like the light and enthusiasm in her eyes and stuff, and everything was just really fun. And things, and just kind of just I don't know. I'm just glad that all the mess aside that everybody else wants to seem to talk about or whatever. I'm super happy that the game got the big spotlight, and a lot of people are kind of paying attention to like how dope these women were freaking playing the game. It's like regardless of age, gender, race, whatever stuff, whatever, people can ball. and people can have fun, people can trash talk, all this stuff, whatever. Because hey, I never really did it too much as a player, but that's just like my personality style, whatever. But my kids, they've had some moments, whatever, like that. I remember middle school game, my oldest son came through and blocked the mess out of somebody's ball, and he cursed. He was like, get that out of here. Of course, in the moment, me as a parent was like, yo, boy, sit your butt down. Chill out there. Because he did get a tech or whatever and all that stuff. And, it became a whole thing, whatever. But in hindsight, it was like, hey, heat of the moment or whatever. Because he's normally a quiet kid, and stuff. So, but, and then my daughter, I be noticing her sometimes, whatever. Of course, I know this is like years from her. When they were younger, she was playing on the boys' team with my son and his teammates and stuff, whatever. And they play rough and stuff, whatever. So I'll be watching her games and stuff now, whatever, and like watching her, she's not afraid to get in there. She's not afraid to be scrappy and stuff, whatever, and be aggressive and stuff, and maybe a little bit of trash talk, maybe sneaking in there, whatever, because I'll be watching her sometimes, whatever, and sometimes I'll be like, hey, chill, baby, chill. But all in all, super dope game. So shout out to LSU ladies and all the historic things that happened with that. So now let's dive into some dope, some fun things. So let's talk about this mess with Hulu and Disney and Heavenly Delusion. So for those that might not know, Disney, over the last year or so, have been getting into licensing more anime and stuff, and bringing them over, exclusive to their platforms. Which for the most part, internationally, it's on Disney Plus, but for like the U.S. and stuff, whatever, it's been on Hulu, which Disney owns that as well. But they have been kind of fumbling the ball with stuff here and there, with a lot of their shows. But of course, the kind of like first big one that like really hit me last year was Summertime Rendering. Now, Summertime Rendering originally started airing around this time last year, like around April, and so that one was a really big profile, anticipated show, big psychological thriller show. I heard great things about the manga. I had read a few chapters back when it was announced, and I was like, yo, this is right up my alley. I can't wait for the anime. So, unfortunately, they never brought it over officially until almost a year later. So, a lot of us, shout out to the homies at Mic Check, as we say, we went to the sites that shall not be named. We hit the high seas, and had to watch it other ways because it's like, okay, and it was like one of the best kept secrets last year of one of the best anime that came out last year, Summertime Rendering. And it sucks because a lot of us were talking about it on social media and stuff, on our podcasts and stuff, whatever. And of course, people come across it as like, yo, what you're saying sounds dope, or hey, seeing clips or whatever. It's like, yo, what is this? Where can I watch? And it's like, Disney got the rights to it, but we don't know what's going on. And so that was 24, 25 episodes. So from April to the freaking October, this anime was airing. Everybody was talking about it or whatever. Super awesome, but it wasn't out. And then they talked about it was coming, whatever. And it was just so weird because I was seeing clips online of an English dub that was out in a whole other country or whatever, and stuff, whatever. And then they finally released it. Like I said, like either like the very tail end of last year or the very beginning of this year. I can't remember, but they released it pretty much in the dead of night. Like I woke up one morning or whatever, or I might have been up late in the night. I can't remember, but it's just like people were like, "Oh, hey, Summertime Rendering is now on Hulu, both in English dub and Japanese." And it's like, okay, great. And there was no promotion on any of their social medias that I can remember finding. And let me double check. Yeah, I just double checked it. From what I can see, I never saw Hulu or Disney ever say, hey, summertime rendering now out or whatever. It was up to the community to continue pushing it or whatever. And so here we came again with Heavenly Delusion, also known by its Japanese name Tengoku Daimakyo. Uh, so this was another one. Now this is one I had actually read the first volume of it, maybe like a year or so ago, and I really enjoyed what I read, and I heard that, hey, okay, it gets better and stuff, whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. And then it was announced like a week ago, whatever, in the week leading up to the launch, that hey, Disney got the rights to it or whatever, but hey, no worries, it's gonna be on Hulu, yada yada yada. So it's like, okay, cool. So Saturday, April 1st, April Fool's Day, of course, the day of days for this fumble to happen. So we get up Saturday morning, whatever, and we're like, okay, cool. Heavenly Delusion. Where's it at? Everybody checking Hulu and stuff, whatever. Nothing. But then, we're seeing clips start and screenshots starting to float around like, yo, this episode is so beautiful, da 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 da. But it's from people internationally around the world that has it, on Disney Plus, whatever. But of course, it's like, it's always like sometimes like stuff isn't always in sync. So it's like, hey, in a couple hours it'll be here, whatever. So we get past noon, still nothing. And I'm like, okay, maybe later in the day. So we get towards like the evening, going into nighttime, whatever, still nothing. So, and I don't know his full name, whatever. But I just want to say, just shout out to, I believe he was like the senior producer or something that works on like the English dub for Disney and Hulu stuff, whatever. He's the one that tweeted out. He was like, hey, there's a problem going on that's going to cause a delay on the episode release on Hulu in the US or whatever, but still released everywhere else, whatever. So it was like, okay, hey, after like a whole day, why are we getting updates from this random employee about what's going on with one of the biggest, at least for a lot of us, anticipated shows of the season, a lot of big sleeper. And so, yeah, it was just weird. And just kind of like, and just earlier today, freaking Thursday, or actually, it might have been last night or whatever, but anywho, Wednesday, Thursday. So 4 or 5 days later, they finally put the episode up, whatever. But even now that the episode is up, whatever, still no word from the official accounts, whatever. Like, hey, now airing or whatever. It took the community taking screenshots of the show on their Hulu apps or their TVs or whatever, being like, hey, it's finally out or whatever. And of course, they have it in the Japanese name, which in one way is dope, but if it's also been promoted as Heavenly Delusion, people that's going to be searching for whatever. So, but yeah, so all that to say, whatever, is that this is just like a bit of a concern, because it's like, man, like if y'all gonna continue to license more of these series, then y'all need to get y'all's ducks in a row. Not saying that like, hey, we understand that problems come up and and things might not always happen on time or whatever, but at least communicate that. It's like it shouldn't be dependent on one of your employees who took it upon themselves to do this, whatever. They didn't have to, whatever, especially when it's like the official Hulu support page. Originally, somebody was asking, was like, hey, what's up with Heavenly Delusion, and the support page, was the support account on Twitter was like, hey, that show, we don't even have the rights to that show, so don't know what to tell you. And then that started a whole wave of confusion, because it's like, yo, Hulu support says they don't even have the rights, even though a few days ago they said that they did. And so, yeah, it was just a mess. But yeah, this is just me saying, Hulu and Disney, specifically Disney, because you're the owner of all this, do better. And like I said, we're not asking for much. We're just asking for simple communication. if something's not gonna be up on time, whatever, especially if we're getting past like a day or two, something needs to be said. And then once you finally correct your mistakes or whatever, it's like, hey, y'all tweet out all types of mess anyways, like all these companies do. Tweet out, hey, episode now live, or hey, we're experiencing technical difficulties. The episode this week will be delayed. We'll let you know when the episode is live. Something instead of rumors and murmur spreading, and then people is like, hey, a lot of people will give it at least a good, maybe solid day of like, okay, hey, I want to try to support the official, so I'm gonna give it a day or whatever. But then after a while, it's like, okay, your timeline is getting flooded. YouTube videos and reactions and reviews and stuff are coming out for these shows, and it's like that fear of missing out. And it's like, all right, well, all right, boys, let's hit the high seas, and that's what started happening and stuff. So, but anyway, I'm happy the episode's on there now. I hope this Saturday morning when I wake up, the episode is there, because they already had it on the app of like, hey, Saturday, 8 a.m. I'm like, okay, we'll see. but yeah, so enough about my ramble on that. So the show itself, so Heavenly Delusion. So just to read the synopsis of this. So in the year 2024, it's so weird that these shows are so close to real time now. In the year 2024, the world has collapsed. Grotesque monsters lurk amongst the ruins of Japan, while remaining people scrape together what they can to survive. Kuriko, an odd job girl named Inanako, accepts a mysterious woman's dying wish to take a boy named Maru to a place called Heaven. So, one thing about the show is that it also has slight Promised Neverland vibes, because there's like part of the series where there's a bunch of kids within a facility that's kind of like isolated from the rest of the world. So very intriguing, like I say, just kind of like a little kind of like mystery thriller type of show. So, but the first episode, super good. The visuals were stunning and on point. And so I'm very happy with how that first episode turned out. So go check that out. Like I said, Heavenly Delusion, or like I said, it's just the Japanese names which you got to search it by, which is Tengoku Daimakyo. Tengoku Daimakyo. So next show I want to touch on, a new show I watched right before I started recording. It's called Skipping Loafer. Now, this is a cool little show that the manga for this was on my radar for a long time to read. And so when I heard that there was going to be an anime coming, I was like, okay, cool. At this point, I'll just wait. And so this first episode was just full of so much wholesomeness. And so I'll read the synopsis of this one. So, Skipping Loafer. This country girl is ready for the big city. Well, at least she thought she was. Mitsumi's dream is to attend a prestigious school and to make the world a better place. But when she finally gets to Tokyo, it turns out she isn't exactly prepared for city life. Luckily, she runs into Shima, a sweet and handsome classmate who becomes her first friend. Can she make it in Tokyo with Shima by her side? So, cute little kind of like a slice of life romance show, and yeah, it just had all the sweet wholesome vibes. Of course, I love me a good family with a good support system. So had the mom, the younger siblings, the family pets, the childhood friend back home, all these wholesome elements on top of just some of the just like funny moments that happened along the way. So Skipping Loafer, that's another dope one. That one's on Crunchyroll, so go check that one out. It was a very, very nice premiere episode. Let me see. I'm trying to see what other shows from this season specifically have I watched, because I haven't got to watch too much yet, because of course we're still kind of like in that kind of like limbo moment in between. Oh, of course. Probably one of the most high profile ones this season. Um, Hell's Paradise. So, this is another really big one. What do they? I think they call this as part of the in the manga realm, part of the dark trio, the dark triad, whatever they call it, because it's Hell's Paradise, this Jujutsu Kaisen, and Chainsaw Man. And funny enough, they're all animated by Mappa as well. Mappa managed to get their hands on all three of those series. But yeah, so the synopsis for this is the Edo period is nearing its end. Gabimaru, the main character, is a shinobi formerly known as the strongest in Iwagakure, who is now a death row convict, is told that he will be acquitted and set free if he can bring back the elixir of life from an island that is rumored to be the Buddhist pure island. I can't pronounce that. In hopes of reuniting with his beloved wife, Gabimaru heads to this island along with the executioner and yada yada yada. So, first episode, once again, super dope, super intriguing. This character is seemingly immortal. He is pulling some Kaido stuff from One Piece to where no matter what they try to freaking chop his head off, they try to impale him, they try to rip him apart, light him on fire, boiling like Odin, all this stuff, and the man just lives. And so this one, and I've heard this one's going to get very violent. Which, hey, if I mention it in the same company as Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man, then you kind of know to expect that. But yeah. So first episode was super dope. This is also on Crunchyroll, and this is one where the manga for this is actually complete. Hell's Paradise manga, I believe it's like 127 chapters. Yeah, ran from 2018 to 2021. So the author got in there and knocked out 14 volumes, 127 chapters, and was like, all right, I'm done. So check that one out. How can I also forget this one? My Home Hero, psychological thriller. Now, this is one that a lot of y'all, and I'll probably put the link somewhere for the video version for my review of this, but My Home Hero is a series that I had read a good chunk of a year or two ago, maybe like early part of last year, I can't remember. But this is the one about the dad along with his wife, the mother and father, who basically end up committing a murder to protect their daughter, and then trying to protect their family and keep the secret and try to stay ahead of the Yakuza that are trying to wonder where the guy went. So My Home Hero. Now, of course, I know the biggest complaint of this is like the visuals. It's not super visually stunning or anything like that, but I'll say the visuals were decent. And most importantly, though, is that the atmosphere and the themes and stuff were all there. And so I'm very excited to watch this and to re-experience this story all over again, because I got to read, like I said, part one of the story, which was like maybe like 40 something, knocking on 50 chapters. But I'm excited to see this anime, and I believe this one is on Crunchyroll. Yeah. This one's on Crunchyroll. So yeah, My Home Hero. Go check that one out. Let me see. Did I miss anything else that is like new from this season? I don't believe so. Yeah. Cause it's still a lot of stuff that I want to, or that hasn't even started airing yet or whatever. So just briefly, I'm gonna touch on some other shows. Vinland Saga, we're in the second curve, the next half of it. So which means we got new openings and endings. Which the opening for sure was really dope. Endings, I still love that first ending that we got for season 2 so far. Without Love, man, that song is playing in my mind right now. I love it so much. But the new songs and stuff were dope. things are wrapping up right now with what's going on the farm and elsewhere. But I'm not going to go into too much detail, or whatever. But just know, still really good. Um, let's see. I went back and I finished The Angel Next Door season 1. Super sweet ending to the season. I'm very happy with where things left off there, and I look forward to hopefully we're not having to wait too long to find out a bit about a season 2. But yeah, so Angel Next Door spoils me rotten. Really good show. Highly recommend it. That was that one was like a nice wholesome slice of life show. So y'all go check that out. What else? I also went back and I finished up The Strongest Exorcist. The reincarnation of the strongest exorcist in another world. This one's also on Crunchyroll, just like Angel Next Door. Now this one I kind of like fell off watching it for a few weeks, but like I mentioned last week, I was so deep into watching Space Brothers for the last like couple of weeks prior to where I just stopped watching everything pretty much. But so I had I got to watch maybe like the last like 3 or 4 episodes I had left. Really nice and solid wrap up for the season. I'm not mad at it. Lots of action. The MC is not afraid to get his hands dirty, but also to admit, when he might be, overstepping his boundaries sometimes, or he's starting to learn that. And so very, very, very good show. Very, very fun watch. It's not the best show, not the best isekai, but it was definitely a nice, fun watch. And sometimes that's all we need. Let me see. Now, I can't remember if I already talked about these two or not, but Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill. Finished that as well. That also was really good. That was a really unexpected surprise for me from last season, because when it was like, okay, Mappa's doing an isekai, whatever, it's going to look really good, but I don't really care. But then some people that I follow online who had been reading or whatever was like, no, hey, people put this on your radar or whatever. And that show quickly became one of the shows I looked forward to watching every freaking week, every Tuesday. And after that first episode, I learned I always have some food nearby, because man, they be cooking up a storm in that show. And so watching that on an empty stomach or whatever, I was like, man, I wish I could be eating what they cooking on the show or whatever. So, but yeah. So Campfire Cooking, very dope show. Like I said, beautiful animation, fun cast of characters. Highly recommend checking that one out. And Kinda of the Great Snow Sea. That's another one. I had a few episodes built up. I had to go back and finish. So I watched like the last like 2 episodes, I believe is what I had. Interesting end to the season, and sad that they kind of left it at that kind of cliffhanger for a movie that's not coming out to the freaking like late in the year. And it's like y'all couldn't do like a little bit more of a cleaner wrap up for the season and stuff. But before we got to do all this waiting for the movie, whatever. So I don't know. Like I said, it was solid. And then they did like a lot of like weird jumping around and like, okay, hey, we're here, now we're here, now we're over here, now we're here, all within like a couple of minutes. And it's like, whoa, what happened? Where are we at in the story? And then it kind of like ended in a way where I'm like, okay, clearly there's another episode or whatever. And then it was like, nope, that's it for the season. But hey, we'll be back later on for a movie or something to wrap up the season. I'm like, okay, all right, we'll see. But all in all, though, kind of the Great Snow Sea, that was a really intriguing watch. It took me a while to kind of like get used to the art style and stuff, because it's definitely a good chunk of kind of like CG animation and stuff, whatever. But for me, the mystery of the world and the story and the lore was big enough to kind of like keep me pulled in and invested in the story, to where I'm like, visuals is not the worst that I've seen, especially compared to something I saw a clip of earlier. Definitely not the worst that I've seen by any stretch of the imagination. Uh, but yeah, still was a solid watch. Now I think that's it as far as like stuff that I have watched so far. Let me see. Yeah, because now I'm getting into stuff from weeks ago. So reading wise, I think I really just I'm gonna kind of just keep this short. I'm really gonna just really gonna talk about one thing that I read, and it's something that I read earlier today, but it's called Shibatarian. Now I'm gonna show y'all this. Just watching the video. So yeah. And it was the freaking synopsis that done me in, that brought me here. So, in the spring of my third year of middle school, I found Shibata buried beneath a sakura tree. We watched movies and became fast friends, even planned to make a movie together for a school festival, but no one at school seemed to know him. I would discover Shibata, and the whole world would turn to Shibata. This is a story of, by, and for Shibata, now showing in theaters near you. Now, that's not 100% the synopsis that I have read on Twitter earlier that the Manga Plus account had put out. Let me see if I can find that tweet. But the point is, the synopsis got me. Let me see. Okay, actually no, never mind. Word for word, the same synopsis. but anywho, so this one was very, very, very intriguing. I'm not gonna touch on too much whatever yet, cause I think I might try to do a separate little discussion thing for it or whatever. But I will say here is that the way the story was going on this one, I honestly thought that I might have misinterpreted or whatever and thought that, okay, this is just going to be a one-shot story, because I'm like, the way things were going. So, and you know what, I'm going to touch on it a little bit or whatever. So basically, like the synopsis said, this one kid finds this other kid just buried up to his neck in the dirt under a tree or whatever, and nobody seems to know about this kid. His presence doesn't seem to be there or whatever. And so it's kind of like, okay, what is going on? Was this kid actually here? And then it's like, some time passes, and it's like, okay, that was a weird time of my life, but it is what it is, you know. And then this person shows up. Now they're all, you know, in their early 20s, young adults. And then he's like, hey, remember that thing you said back in the day? Yeah, well, what if I, you know, do that? Like I said, I'm being very vague or whatever for this part, but it was definitely attention grabbing. I guess it's the best way I can describe it, and the best compliment I can give it. But yeah, it was definitely an attention grabber, especially a certain a certain double page spread that happened in the story or whatever. So I am very intrigued to see where this to see where things go with this. You know, like I said, it has room to be a psychological thriller type of show. Maybe there might be some action somehow sneak its way in, but I definitely think it can kind of fit more into like the psychological thriller section of things. So, but Shibatarian on the Manga Plus app and website. So go check that one out. So, but yeah, I think that's it as far as like the main things I've been reading and watching and stuff. Hadn't really got to play too much stuff lately, but gaming wise, I know a lot of people, press and stuff, got to go and check out Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and just hearing about a lot of like the new improvements and stuff that they've made, and uh, different things to the systems and cosmetics and yada yada yada. I'm very, 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 very excited for the end of April to get here so I can play that game. But I also have a lot of stuff, like I mentioned last time, that I need to kind of go through and kind of clean up on episode wise. So it's that. God of War added a new game plus mode that features a lot of new tricks and stuff, whatever, in additions to the story. Not the story. Um, how you can kind of like mix and match some of your party members and stuff. Uh, with that new game plus in certain sections or whatever, from my understanding. So, but yeah. So that's going on with that. Yeah, I can't really think of nothing too much else. Yeah, yeah, nothing too much else. Gaming wise that I can think of. Um, but yeah, but all in all, I think that hopefully we'll see how this goes. But I'm hoping that now with the track season being over, I can kind of start to slowly gain some of my evening and nighttime time back a bit, and maybe start kind of knocking out some of these games and stuff. Because I've mentioned earlier, it's like I haven't really been in too much of a reading mood. Of course there's like the hallmarks and stuff like the One Piece and you know other series or whatever, to where I'm like, yeah, this is priority reading regardless of what's going on. I gotta read this series, but yeah. But other than that, yeah, I haven't really still haven't dove into this. Y'all that's been watching some of my last few videos is like, man, is that nothing's changed? It's still the same stack of books, Robert. And yes, that is true. But it is what it is. But yeah, but I think with that, I think I'm done. I don't need to ramble on too long. Shout out to Crystal, Ren, and Bilal over at the Kami House podcast. Cause I believe they're about to start the wheels turning and come back very soon. So I'm very excited to have them back in my podcast feed again, and things like that. So and shout out to everybody out there in the community for always showing your boys some love and support. It is highly, 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 and gratefully appreciated. Everything that y'all do for me. But yeah, but I'm gonna wrap things up with that today. Nice short and sweet episode, under an hour, which is a rarity for me for a podcast episode. But said what I needed to say and ready to go to bed because the NyQuil is quick kicking in. But yeah, once again, shout out to all my kids, like I said, especially to my older three, for having an overall fantastic track season and stuff. So, but yeah, we're gonna get out there and come back to fight more, fight with the heart of a champion. As the coach was saying, and I think about that all the time. Those are the old NBA Finals graphics and stuff where they were like showing like all the different things and the different players and stuff like that. I love that. I love seeing that every year, and I'm so sad they took that away. But it was so dope seeing that over all the years and stuff. And then, I always just remember the one line where it's like, the heart of a champion, and stuff like that or whatever. And so, I have faith and encouragement in my daughter and all my kids, but that that this situation wasn't the outcome that she was hoping for, but that that hopefully she takes and remembers the life lesson with this happening and stuff. So of just striving to not psych yourself out, and also like instilling that notion of kind of like perseverance and pushing through pain within reason, pushing through pain and hardships and hard times and stuff, to where hopefully at some point in the future if she ends up in a situation, whether it be with track or just with life, that she's able to push forward and continue to move, in the things that she wants to do. So yeah. So shout out to all of them. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching and or listening. As always, you can find me everywhere at Dad Needs to Talk. I'm 3 subs away from the milestone 300 on YouTube, so please go sub to your boy so we can cross that little threshold. And yeah, other than that, not too much else is going on. I'm still planning the Space Brothers episode, but I'm just wanting to until I really get in the mood for it. I do need a shout out because me saying that actually just jogged my memory. There was something I came across. Yes, it's this game called The Invincible. It's on my radar now because somebody described it as Firewatch in space. Now, Firewatch was a game that came out several years back. Please look it up. But it was basically about like this, if I remember correctly, this park ranger that got hurt or stranded or something like that. Firewatch. Let me see if I can find that synopsis for y'all. Let me see. Yeah, here's a synopsis. Firewatch is a mystery set in the Wyoming wilderness where your only emotional lifeline is the person on the other end of the handheld radio. The year is 1989. You are a man named Henry who has retreated from his messy life to work as a fire lookout in the Wyoming wilderness. Perched atop a mountain, it's your job to find smoke and keep the wilderness safe. An essentially hot, dry summer has everyone on edge. Your supervisor, a woman named Delilah, is available to you at all times over a small handheld radio and is your only contact with the world you've left behind. But when something strange draws you out of your lookout tower and into the world below, you'll explore a wild and unknown environment, facing questions and making interpersonal choices that can build or destroy the only meaningful relationship you have. So that game, like I said, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I really want to go back and revisit it someday. But it's available for $20 on Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. So, so the game, like I said, The Invincible. Let me see. And of course, with me recently watching, Space Brothers, I'm kind of in that mood for that kind of like sci-fi thing. But yeah, so here it is. So rethink humans' domain in The Invincible, a story-driven adventure set in a hard sci-fi world by Stanislaw Lem, which is based off of like his novel or something like that. Discover planet Regis 3 as scientists Yasna use atom punk tools looking for a missing crew and face unforeseen threats. Make choices in a philosophical story that's driven by science. So, like I said, everything that I've seen, I watched like a few things of like gameplay or whatever. Look right up my alley, and like I said, the best description when somebody said Firewatch in space, I was like, yep, I'm sold. But yeah, so this game is supposed to be out for sure on PC and some consoles. I don't know everything yet, but I'm pretty sure like Xbox, PlayStation, PC for sure. But yeah, so just wanted to mention that real quick, just like to just put that on y'all's radar. But yeah, so as I said, thank you so much for watching and or listening. You can find me everywhere at Dad Needs to Talk, and yeah, and as I always say, treat yourself to something nice, read some manga, watch some anime and TV, play some video games, and live your best life. And with that, I am out. Y'all have an awesome day and or weekend, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.